Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot and happy Halloween. This is the Halloween reading. So, I think that when I was kind of closing up yesterday's reading, I was thinking about what today's question was going to be. And I think what we're going to look at is kind of what to expect. What kind of communication possibly to expect. We have a lot of indication that communication is trying to head your way. So let's get maybe a feel for what that looks like and what you can be doing about it. So it'll be a general reading as always. And so it'll be a general reading for this collective, which means it's not going to resonate with everyone. But if it does resonate with you, then maybe check out some of the other readings because they're all very much connected. We're going to do it with a couple of Halloween decks today. And so I've got one that came from a Halloween store and then another one that is very Halloween themed, as you'll see. We're going to go ahead and start by getting the energy between the two of you. That's what I want to get to start out. So this is going to include impact from that energetic and emotional backdrop that I sometimes like to gather. But it's really the energy that's flowing between the two of you right now because we're looking at what to expect. That one goes that way. King of Wands in the reverse. Desire to control the outcome. It's not necessarily trying to control each other so much as I want to make sure that I feel a certain way, so I'm not going to let myself think about it. Or I want to make sure that I don't let too much time go by. There's something about it with the Page of Pentacles and a lesson not learned. There's something about this King of Wands that's not the balanced King of Wands, okay? But it's not the usual I just need to control the whole picture that we sometimes see with the King of Wands in reverse. It's more controlling small amounts of things, and yet there's still this drive to bring the two of you together. So that's kind of you're still very much magnetized, but the energies are not necessarily bringing you in together in a way that works for you because of lessons that are still unlearned. So it's consistent with what we've seen in the past, but this drive to bring you in closer to one another is probably the thing that has most of my attention. So let's see what wants to come out for that. So, okay, so we have the Six of Presents. This is Earth energy in this deck. And I think we do have the Queen of Potions too. So Queen of Potions is water energy, it's cups. And then, yes, Three of Candles, which is fire. And so we've got kind of this is like the Three of Wands. This is like the Queen of Cups. And then this is like the Six of Earth. So the thing is, there's an awareness, and we've seen this coming out at least yesterday, maybe also I think maybe in the day before or somewhere recently. It's been coming out. They're very aware of what they haven't done and what they haven't provided to you. And so there is kind of this feeling of guilt, little bit of shame around that as well, that kind of comes out with this Six of Presents in the reverse. And then we've got the Queen of Potions, where there really is just a lot of love in here. So the problem is not as much vulnerability as is needed, but there's also a tendency. So it feels like, you know how sometimes I say, if you've been here for a while, you'll see sometimes I say that you guys got in on the ground floor spiritually. So even though there's been some separation in the physical sense, there is a lot in the spiritual sense where the two of you have already been through some things, and nothing brings people closer than adversity. And having been through a few things, kind of, this is that three of candles energy, is that we've been through it together a little bit, and there's a sense of camaraderie, even if and it matches with this partnership kind of feeling. The love, though, is the part that it's being difficult to express. So that mantra that I like to use, all about allowing yourself to give and receive love in equal measure, that one's being very difficult. So for you, it may still be a little bit difficult to receive love, even though you know you're worth it. Sometimes it's just a matter of those habits of thought and habits of behavior that make it difficult. We've got the Hermit here, and this is what you would want to kind of reach into, is that Hermit energy that let me sit and think about it and go ahead and absorb the wisdom that wants to come to me. That sort of energy coming in with this Hermit card is really helpful as you consider the rest of this, because it feels like take a deep breath energy. And honestly, we've gotten that advice already a couple of times here recently. Saw it yesterday, I'm pretty sure. We have the Ace of Potions. So that is Ace of Cups, new kind of blossoming energy between the two of you. Feels a little bit like springtime. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, it may literally feel like springtime. A lot of us are in the northern hemisphere, and it feels like it's coming into autumn right now. But this is a feeling of something new that is developing emotionally, and it comes out very much connected with what I'm feeling around this Two of Cups as well. So the tendency toward partnerships. Now, the Eight of Candles talks about kind of it's stalling. It's not really stagnant energy, but it's this energy of stalling and saying like they're on their way to you, they're on their way to making a movement forward, and all of a sudden they stop short and say, wait, what am I doing, what am I, let me think this through. And thinking it through is not always beneficial to them, because they have an ability or a tendency, I would say, to overthink. Now, we've seen a lot recently of them being able to kind of get past that, and it's difficult to say how much of that is this moon energy that we've been experiencing and how much of it is, still residual from the eclipse versus what comes from the lessons that we also see that they've learned. But one of the things that we've also noticed in the last couple days, and I'm seeing it again here, is there is this tendency for them to not feel like, with the King of Presents, that's like the King of Earth energy, not feel like they're really worthy of this love that they feel for you. Like they don't, there's a strong disconnect in them. And it really kind of, it makes things challenging. It's a strong disconnect that makes it feel like they hide in their fantasies, but even their fantasies don't really work because they feel like they're having something taken away from them. So with the King of Needles, though, I feel like there's King of Needles, Nine of Needles. Yes, not this one. Nine of Presents. Okay, not this one. Okay. So this is what we've got for the rest of the energy between the two of you. You have King of Needles, which is about strategy. It's about, this is a really logical mind, but it's a very logical take on things. Might be a little bit heavy on the logic and light on the emotion with this energy, with the King of Needles. With the Nine of Needles, here goes that it goes from overthinking straight into anxiety and not having an ability to sleep. It's that fitful kind of rest that a person gets when they've got something really on their mind that they can't seem to get rid of, and they don't know the way out. Because here's a person that feels like they're in a maze and really they don't have a good way out. It's an uncomfortable kind of feeling for them, as you might imagine. But they're, again, leaning on your energy pretty heavily to help make things work for them. They lean on you for a little of their strength. And the thing is, I don't get the sense that you necessarily mind it, or that your energy is, you don't seem dismissive to them in any way. It seems like you're welcome, again, with that sense of having gotten in on the ground floor. There's that feeling of the comfort of your souls together and the comfort of your soul energies together. But it's not necessarily extending into the physical right now. And there's a lot of anxiety that kind of keeps even this loving springtime feeling, it kind of blocks that a little bit. So I'd be interested to see what wins out. It's not uncommon for us to see things in the energy between you that is, I really want to move toward you, but I also really feel like I can't. That is consistent between the two of you, but this is something new that's blooming, and it's causing consternation and anxiety just in the fact that it feels new and uncertain. So let's get into what else, that you really need to know. I feel like I'm reminded of yesterday. We saw in the YouTube reading where your person had been kind of ignoring a truth that was really important to them. Okay, ignoring a truth that was going to help them move through this process, but it was something they just kind of didn't feel ready for. We also had that feeling that they're a little bit frustrated because of that lack of control. So this is, again, kind of what I'm feeling with this King of Wands. And I'll just pull that out because it feels so prevalent, but it's not about, hey, I'm upset I can't control this relationship, because in a lot of ways they feel like they kind of can control the relationship. or at least have, they can exert a lot of control over the relationship. However, they don't feel like they have control over the bond because they feel a little bit trapped by it because they're not able to just let go and walk away cleanly. You know, that's something that bothers them. So, that those are a couple of the things that really come to mind as I look at the energy between you, and especially thinking about things that came out in yesterday's reading as we were watching the pressure build. So I think let's get into it a little bit more. We're looking to see what to expect, but really just kind of considering that current energy and some of the things that are especially coming out there. What kinds of things can you expect? And then we'll ask where your focus needs to be given whatever comes out in this. And we will go into an extended, I think we'll go into an extended for this one. It depends on what comes out. I really don't want to extend a video that doesn't have any questions that come afterwards, but a lot of ours do. Or a lot of them I know going in, hey, there's no way I'm going to extend this. I'm not even going in with that attitude. And then other times I go in totally open to it. So I dropped the Seven of Cups. It wants to be part of the reading. And then we have the Lovers here. Okay, so reminded of a couple of things here with the Lovers. Oh, we got the Tower too. All right, I think those are our cards. Okay, so we have the Seven of Cups in the reverse. We have the Lovers in the upright. And then we have the Tower in the reverse. Okay, and so remember, maybe it was a couple days ago, we had your person resisting a tower, and it was like something that was going to happen to them anyway. There was something that they kind of couldn't really get past. They don't really have as many choices regarding this. It's kind of coming their way, and they almost feel like it's like they know it's inevitable, okay? But they don't exactly understand how to move forward with this Seven of Cups energy here. And with the Lover's energy, I'm reminded of two things. I'm reminded of feeling like there's a choice that they have to make with regard to how they want to move forward with you. But we keep seeing that they feel like they don't really have as much of that choice to make. But here it feels like they kind of grab ideas from their fantasies a little bit. What makes me concerned, though, is that I still feel a little bit of this. It feels like they lose their nerve. Like they gather some strength from their fantasies. They come up with some options, but it's not clear enough for them. But this Lover's energy is pretty powerful. So I don't know, because it still feels like it's got that reach out. Now, this is not necessarily 3D communication sort of reach out, although it certainly could be. I just think it goes beyond that. It's got a very reach out. And so we hear often, and many of us have experienced, that the veil between worlds is thinner on Halloween. And here's somebody that's willing to try it out. That's kind of almost the sense that we feel here. Yeah, there's a desire. There's too much. They're not going to have as much luck as they'd like. There is too much of this Emperor in reverse energy, too much of this almost, so being scarred by something that happened in the past, and they know it. Scarred by something that happened in the past with the Ten of Needles. With the Emperor in reverse, this is that feeling of, this one really is frustrating because it reminds me of that King of Wands. It's a little bit like the King of Wands. It's a little bit like them wanting to control the situation and being frustrated, not because the situation isn't what they want, but because they can't control it. And they know this about themselves. So this is an honorable mention, but they know this about themselves with the Judgment card coming out, and they don't really, the thing that concerns me is they don't necessarily, correct for it enough. There's still a sense of them seeing it and saying, yeah, I'm all right with this. And then, you might look at it and say, are you really okay with thinking that you can control this much? But there is a tendency, they want to, this is wild. It's the Ace of Presents. And all I could see before I read it was they want to present themselves. They want to present themselves to you in some kind of new way. We have the Six of Candles in the reverse. It's like, what I get from this is, and we're looking for what can you expect. So this is them wanting to present themselves in some kind of new way. But it comes at a time where you are already going in a couple different directions. Like there's already a lot going on, and you turn around and see them, and it's maybe not like you pictured it, where you pictured that you would have, time to devote to this. And, oh yes, why, of course I could go to lunch today. Yeah, you can't. in this energy. This is you're kind of under fire. There's too much else going on, and something else is happening that makes you have to have a very human conversation with them. But it's okay because it's going to knock them off this emperor energy a little bit, which is really needed, as far as something that allows for you to reconcile. There's and this reconciliation energy. We've had reconciliation energy showing up here recently, and it's still very much here. So we have the energy of reconciliation, of change, of new comfort, finding new comfort, but not necessarily resolving everything. So that feels like it's that's a new maturity that I don't know that we've always seen in this collective. Okay, so we've got the Eight of Needles now. Eight of Needles is overthinking. So be prepared for this, because you've got somebody who, if they reached out to you recently, they're pretty sure they botched a communication with you. They botched something about the communication with you. And this is that sense of still sitting there thinking about it, still wondering how they could manage to make this work. I love that they put Sally on here, because if you've, I mean, I guess a lot of people have seen this movie by now, but it's got so much of that personality of just kind of, I'm not sure about this. I want to do the right thing, but I'm pretty sure I don't even know which way is the right way to go, which we also see with that Seven of Cups, not being sure which way to go, not feeling like, okay, so when they start to get a little bit freaked out, what you notice from them is they start to grasp at excuses to stop or excuses to run away. And with the Two of Potions, that's what we're seeing here again. It's them saying, wait, I can't do this. I've got something else going on. With the Three of Potions in the reverse. This is that that third party energy that I think is, and that's wild. So it's not relevant to the reading, but we have the 2, the 3, and the 4 of Potions. And if you guys have been around for a while, you guys know I used this deck last year, and I've used it in personal readings like crazy. It's very unlikely that those 3 cards could possibly, actually impossible. The way that I build, the way that I manage my decks when I first receive them, they immediately all get broken and scattered up, and so that if for them to come back together like that is actually pretty unusual. So the 4 of Potions wasn't relevant to this completely in any other way other than just potentially an honorable mention about how surprised they constantly are about not being able to escape this energy. So there is that sense of them not being able to escape the energy, but also, like I said, using some things as an excuse. And this is that third party, I've got to work, or I've got to go back to my family, or there's something that they start to lean heavily on that excuse. Okay, so here we have the Seven of Potions in reverse. It's that same energy as that Seven of Cups in reverse, and it has really that same kind of feel to it. Whoa. And then we have the Eight of Potions. So this is a lot of potions that are kind of moving through the process. This is telling me, this is getting my attention. And so sometimes when you're looking at tarot, it's giving you what's in the cards, and then sometimes it's also giving you a little more than that. I feel like we're getting a little more than that. With the 2, 3, 4 of Potions in order, this is advancement. With the 7, 8 of Potions in order, it's reminding us, hey, there's advancement, but it's advancement in the emotional sense. So it reminds me very much of, and I kind of see it here, they still have a lot to figure out. They have an awful lot to figure out. They haven't gone on that quest that really helps them figure out what it is that they want and need, and just to kind of be able to get to where they have to go with this emotionally, so that they can have a reunion with you, because at this point they're still working through their own personal reconciliation, which is one of the steps. You have to have the both personal reconciliations plus the reconciliation between the two of you before you can really have a fruitful union between the two of you. And I see them advancing through the emotional steps. The thing here is we're asking about what to expect, and so what I think is not just that we are going to see that there is further advancement through the steps. I think you're going to see the advancement that they've already made. So you're going to get a feel for what they've already accomplished in this. You know, there's something really cool about the moving forward energy in this, even though we can acknowledge that this is not a healed person that reaches out to you. This is somebody who's still kind of working through everything. There's a need for them to be connected to their higher power and their higher self, but they're actually doing a great job with that right now. As far as compared with what they're usually capable of doing, there's some acknowledgement within them at this time of things that need to change. It doesn't necessarily mean that you might not still see that narcissist side of them that gets really confident and possibly even overly confident about things. But they've in their quiet moments, they've got some awareness of that. But we got the Knight of Potions here. Knight of Potions in the reverse. That's just kind of, it's a feeling of them getting all the way to your door and then feeling like they fail in the ability to communicate properly. So they might get there and just go, "Hey, how's it going?" Instead of, "Hey, I actually wanted to talk to you about something," rather than being able to say all the pieces about, "I wanted to talk to you about something," and then getting vulnerable like they maybe planned. Instead, it turns out to be this incredibly just sort of lighthearted conversation, because it's a decision that they can't seem to make. We got the Two of Needles here, in the reverse again, and it's like it's a decision that is very difficult for them to make, because it turns out there's a lot more riding on it than just what it appears to be. So that's important. So it looks like you do still have that energy of reaching out, and in some cases that's definitely going to mean material, like physical world communication, where they send you a text or something. It doesn't look super well thought out, doesn't look super well healed, but you are going to notice the advancement and the emotional side from them. Of course, there's still work for them to do, but that's huge. And celebrating the small wins, there's never anything really bad about that. Just make sure you understand the reasons that you're doing the things that you're doing, if you do decide to get close together with them, and if that's the way things work out. So let's take a look at you now, get a feel for what it is that you need to be focusing on given the rest of this. Now, a lot of times when we get into this is the lessons for you to be working on. And some of you, I'm aware, fast forward to this portion of the reading because you're done hearing about this other person and you now just want to focus on yourself, which is a perfectly fine way to look at things. Honestly, that's what's going to bring you the wellness and the happiness that you want. Both of you have to do that work, and sometimes it's just really frustrating waiting for it to get done on your side, waiting for it to get done on the other side. And we've got something that's trying to come to you, but it's being difficult. So you may even be aware that you're working through something. You've got the Hanged Man in the reverse here. So this is a perspective you don't have yet, but it's, again, I think you may even be aware of this. It's almost like it's a little bit being kept from you. And then you've got the Ten of Wands in the reverse. So you're taking responsibility for something that maybe doesn't belong in your court or in your camp. Page of Swords in the upright, but you're willing to you're willing to think about things in new ways, which is really awesome, actually, because thinking about things in new ways is going to give you some opportunities. It's going to give you access to some opportunities that you probably may not even realize that are in front of you. So that could lead to the thing that sets your soul on fire, but it means you're willing to jump into something new and try something new. Just be careful about this piece where you're taking on more responsibility than is appropriate. So we got the Moon here in the reverse, some secrets coming out and some change happening for you with this Tower. It is major arcana. The Moon is major arcana, so that's an important secret. And the Tower also is major arcana. That is significant emotional change happening on your part. And that's something that you need to attend to. There's something here that has happened within your life recently that probably has more impact than you truly realize. Okay, Five of Potions in the reverse. Use your newest, most recently learned lessons to navigate this new thing. Again, you may know what this is, this hill that you're climbing now, but you might not. Either way, it's got an unexplainable control over you. This could be something that even is something that's been there for a long time, but now it's smoking. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. It's not everybody, but you've maybe smoked for a number of years and only now does it become the thing you got to struggle with, for whatever reason, it rises to the fore. Either something has happened or you have gotten to a place where you've solved other things and now this is the next thing on the pile, but there's something for you to wrestle with here, that is not necessarily, like I was saying, a new energy, but something that all of a sudden now, with the turn of this tower and the striking down of this tower, as you're rebuilding, you're not going to rebuild it with this, like, you perceive it as a flaw, and you're going to use your new healing and not rebuild it with this same flaw. You also have the Fool card, which is super exciting. This reminds me of again, major arcana version of this feeling with the knights. So if you look at it, or I'm sorry, it's a page of swords, and I meant to say the feeling with the swords, and I don't know, it's not even a knight anyway. So we've got a page of swords, and that's that feeling of running into something that you don't have all the details around. And the Fool card here also really kind of has that same feeling, but by the time you run into this Fool energy, I feel like you figured some things out about this opportunity that you're running into. So again, this may involve that soulmate that you've been seeing come in, or that you've already been experiencing a little bit. I'm hearing about this person a lot from you. Be aware, though, that you may run into a situation where you have limited emotional capacity yourself. That's not usually your thing, but be aware that it might be for you this time. And there may be some changes happening that need to happen within your household. Could just be some work getting done in your house, but it also, this could be new furniture, I mean, but it's a change. It feels very household, not work, unless you work at home and you have some kind of environment where it's like that. But it feels householdy. It feels like things are changing there, but again, it feels very material and not necessarily a bad thing. Could be moving, could be gaining a house, losing a house, any number of things, but it's like a change there. With the Queen of Needles in the reverse, this is something that feels really great because it is not making rash decisions, even though you've got this Fool energy, the willingness and the ability to jump into something new. And you've got the limitation of this Devil energy that you're trying not to rebuild as you rebuild yourself. You've got just this really fantastic energy of I don't have to be in a rush, and I'm not going to make any quick decisions. Now, there's a Four of Needles here that's showing us the lack of the incomplete healing. You've got some incomplete healing, that has occurred here. And the thing is, it's like you learned part of a lesson, but you still have something that you need to kind of work through. You're going to get another opportunity, another shot at something, and I feel like it's going to be more fruitful this time and far more enjoyable to work through the lesson. But the Page of Presence is reinforcing for us there is something that is unlearned. Page of Presence, Page of Needles. So it's something that's unlearned, and it's gonna give you a little bit of a, I won't say a shock, but it is gonna give you a little bit of a, ooh, hey, I thought I was done with this. I thought I had moved through this healing. Be prepared, because this sort of thing happens pretty often. This one may take you a little bit by surprise. But I feel like you bounce back quickly. I still feel like that soulmate is involved here. And I think maybe we look at the soulmate a little bit when we go into the extended, for your person. And I think maybe we're just going to go a little bit deeper into these energies when we get into the extended as well, as far as what to expect. I'm not going to pick out specific cards today like I did yesterday and the day before. We're just going to go into the extended and ask the question, what else do you need to know about what to expect? And then what else do you need to know about this energy with what's coming for you and this development that you're undergoing? Like, you are doing something despite the fact you're rebuilding, even though there's something here that's a challenge for you and the healing isn't done. This person is wanting to come back to you and kind of, they want to show you what this advice, or what this development in their emotional sense has been for them as well. So there's a sense of that, a sense of needing to communicate that and show that to you. Let's look into that a little bit more when we get into the extended. And so I look forward to seeing you there. If you're interested, the link is down below in the description. And otherwise, I will see you again in tomorrow's reading.